Greetings and salutations, my fellow voyagers through the infinite sea of space. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
That's a good pause. That was a good pause.
I could have gone whole hog, but I didn't think about it until halfway through.
No, I think it was better as a little taste.
Yeah. Hello. Let's get the preamble out the way, shall we? Let me see how fast I can do it. Let's wait till it gets to a round minute
We're
here.
doing a speed run?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to speed run it, but not like Micro Machines, man. I'll stumble over my tongue too damn much. You guys hype? If you're hype, type hype in the comments. You know why you should type hype in the comments? It's because
He's trying to do like a radio lead-in.
like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you comment and like at the same time, that will actually boost our signal so much more than if you did one or the other. I do stuff on twitch.tv/whiteraven every Tuesday and Thursday, and maybe more soon, because I'm monetized now, so subscribe to me over there. We've got a Patreon. You can be cool like a guy from Ohio and Rob if you subscribe to the Patreon. More money for me means more time for me to make cool stuff for you. We've got the Journey of Wrestling videos coming up on Thursdays every week. People love it. You should love it too. I've got a new book out and 5 other books besides. Links in the description. I think that's it.
That's it. All right, let's get to talking about Star Trek.
It wasn't even 60 seconds. I'm a fucking master.
Yeah, you got that speed run. Now you got to start shaving time. Just extraneous words.
Yeah, it'll start coming out like that Eminem rap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just be like, Enemwana Budamana Menamwana. I totally told you to subscribe to my channel when I said that. It was real words.
So, we're doing Star Trek this week. Top 5 Star Trek characters as part of our year-long project of doing top 5s and stuff.
We ain't speedrunning this whole ass podcast. It'd be over in a minute.
No, we got 30 minutes to fill.
Yeah, let's slow a roll a little bit. First of all, this was not a planned podcast. Let's tell that story. Let's tell that story.
All right.
Now, I won't get into the one we smushed. We'll talk about that when the time comes. But we ended up with one fewer podcast than we had planned for the top 5, the big thing we've been doing all year. And we still had a mystery one that we hadn't assigned yet to get us to around 20 before the finale.
So we had like 19, and then we couldn't figure out that last one. And then there were 2, as he mentioned, we ended up smushing. And we were talking about, was there anything else that we both liked enough to both be able to do a top 5 on it that also was worth talking about.
Yeah, because I can rank my top 5 favorite characters in Kirby, but what is there to say about Waddle Doo as compared to Waddle Dee?
Round.
One got an eye.
One don't.
Well, he got 2 eyes, but they're small, and he's not as noteworthy for them.
No, big eye, great. Little eyes, meh. There we go. That's the whole Kirby podcast. Got you a little special, little bonus content there for you.
If I was still doing the title cards after the fact, it would be a little tiny Kirby hidden somewhere.
But fact of the matter is, we didn't think of much until you went. I mean, we could do Star Trek, and I was initially skeptical, and then I went, "Oh wait, Star Trek's really good. Yeah, that'd be easy."
Yeah, we're not big Trek Smiths.
Yeah, let's coin a new term. That's Treculators. No, yours is better. Let's go with Treksmith.
But I think we've mostly enjoyed, Star Trek in general. It's not like a big part of our lives the same way Star Wars is.
It's not something I'm emotionally attached to in the
Sure.
same way I am Star Wars. But it's a real good show, a series of shows. And there are a lot of characters I'm very fond of in it. So we're going to talk about those. And 5 he's fond of. Another fun story. We both like pretty much all the characters on each other's lists a lot. We ended up having to do a draft, so this wasn't just 5 of the same guys.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of grew up with the same, spoiler alert, if you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, we're big TNG fans.
It's a heavy TNG podcast.
Yeah, but, there's not much for us to specifically talk about outside of it. but we tried to make it not just the cast of The Next Generation.
And also we tried to make it not the same 5 guys in maybe slightly different order.
Yeah, once again, this is a half-hour show, and we're going to try to hit that mark.
So, I'm going to start.
All right.
Number 5 for me is Q. He is... God, do I really need to explain who fucking Q is? Should we do that? Is that a thing?
He's Space Loki.
Yeah, but like all-powerful Space Loki.
Yeah.
He is a trickster deity. He's Discord, but not on Pony Show.
Literally.
Yes. That was the joke I was making.
All right. Sometimes I don't know when you know things.
Perfect. His first appearance is strong, and they only get stronger from there. I don't like him as much on Voyager because they do too much to humanize him in a way that sucks the impact from the character. But as the all-powerful saber-toothed Jean-Luc Picard's Wolverine, he just shows up to ruin his fucking day sometimes.
You are giving Q too much credit. Q is the guy in the comments or replying to you on Twitter who's got a really great gotcha prepared that he did not think through.
Yeah, that's also true. Like, you just...
What about this, Jean-Luc? Have you thought about how humanity is bad actually? Fuck off! Blocks!
Multi-dimensional hyper beings do not interact. Oh, he's played with such fucking verve and passion and joy.
Yeah.
That you can't help but really enjoy watching him fuck with Jean-Luc Picard and enjoy his inevitable defeat every time.
Yeah, it's good times.
Also, he's responsible for the Borg, so that's pretty cool. What a shitty thing to do. What about you? What's your number 5?
This is going to be kind of a fun entry because, like, is Odo the best part of Deep Space Nine?
Well,
yes.
Yes, of course. That's not disputable.
Do I remember anything Odo has ever done other than look really sad at the camera? No.
Be a shapeshifter.
Yeah, I mean, I know what Odo is. But, like, man, back, like, 20 years ago, when I was watching the show now and then, he always had the best stuff. He always had the best, like, you know...
Best lines.
And good moral fiber.
Best character stuff. Best arcs. Just Odo good. Odo good. One of the people in our honorable mentions list good. Everyone else... Eh.
I cannot remember anything about what he did. Not a single fucking thing. That's why he's number 5. But, like, even the guys in our honorable mentions list, and like I said, if we were doing this the regular way, it would be fucking identical except for the last one. As much as I like the guys in the honorable mentions list and remember more about what they did, I remember liking Odo more.
Yeah, no, it's the fondness you keep.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't have the specifics, because it's been so long, because, spoiler alert, neither of us watched much of Deep Space Nine. Or in a long time, at the very least.
I've kind of wanted to, just to see, like, why I was so mad.
I remember being much more shitty and cynical, whereas, like, even as a kid, Star Trek for me was an optimistic show. I ain't come to Star Trek to get told how bad the government is. That's fine.
I mean, and we grew up with TNG, and the plot of that show, pretty much every week, as you could expect, is what if someone came into your house and fucked with your shit? And you had to yell at them to leave.
Or what if you had a really tough, like, emotional, like, moral quandary you had to navigate, but also you're in charge of a spaceship.
Right. Or what if you got really into a game of Final Fantasy 15 or 14 with your friends while you guys were role-playing, and, like, a lot of really good, like, content came out?
God, the fucking holodeck episodes, man. They are just pure bliss.
Whereas, like, the original Star Trek series was like an adventure, a space adventure. And then Deep Space Nine was like, what if that was boring? No adventures, no one invades your house. It's just...
What if you didn't go anywhere or do anything and everyone was sad?
It's Big Brother, where you also have to watch the CEO talk about, like, licensing deals and stuff. And I want to go back and see if it was actually that bad, because the internet thinks it's really good.
The internet also thinks other things are really good that aren't good.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Bones from the original Star Trek series. Because Bones is the best fucking character in the original Star Trek series by a country damned mile. Bones is the grumpiest man in space. He is Oscar the Grouch with a tricorder. I fucking love him. He is the best character in the reboots because he's the most true to the original. He is just a bug-eyed asshole who doesn't want to be there and wishes he'd stayed home and hates everyone he's on the ship with, especially the Vulcan. And he's their doctor. He's the comedy relief that was good in the original series. Because there were other comedy relief characters who didn't, like, Chekhov's he's just a funny accent. He's mostly treated seriously by the show. He's just got a funny accent. But Bones got fucking jokes. Bones got good jokes, too.
Bones is your sad friend, but he's on antidepressants now.
I love his appearance in Next Generation, when it turns out he's just real old. Because he lived a long time, because he didn't take dumb fucking risks. I wish I had, like, more in-depth thoughts about fucking... I don't even remember. I genuinely, at this moment in time, cannot remember his actual name. He's fucking Bones. He's Dr. McCoy?
Yeah.
Yeah. My brain's like, Hank? No, bud, that's Beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Bones.
God. Just, it's nice to see yourself in things. And grumpy fuck who really wishes I wasn't on an adventure, like... Dickhead a hobbit I feel that. I feel Bones.
What if every now and then when you were reading The Hobbit, Bilbo just turned to Gandalf and was like, man, fuck you, Gandalf.
Man, this is ridiculous. Fuck you, man. Why you gotta do this to me? I was having pipe weed and chilling.
I was in the middle of eating second breakfast and third dinner, and you brought your 13 fucking homies to come cyberbully me into going on this fucking adventure with you. Harold and Kumar are going to find White Castle. You fucked up.
Oh.
My number 4.
There you go.
Is Tuvak. And God, I wish I had more to say, but I just think he's a really fresh take on the Vulcan.
Best Vulcan.
Yeah, I mean, like, Spock is classic. Spock is the template.
Spock is the trope codifier.
Yeah.
You don't get Tuvok without Spock, so you got to put some respect on the name.
100%.
But, like, Tuvok's the best Vulcan.
Yeah, he's like... I hesitate to describe him as fun, but comparatively speaking...
Comparatively fun,
yeah. Comparatively aggressive. Like, he's got a lot going on, does Tuvok. And I don't know, he's got a little bit of sass, and it's that deadpan sass. It's like flying through space with Bob Newhart.
He benefited from, like, 30 years of world building around the Vulcans, too.
Yeah, he really did.
There was a lot more to the Vulcans by the time Tuvok got to be a Vulcan.
Yeah. So, it's short and sweet, but, Tuvok is my number 4.
There you go. Now we get into the real meat of the affair. The people we were real fond of. The reason there had to be a draft. My number 3 is fucking Worf. Worf from Deep Space Nine, which I guess technically that would make him the best thing in Deep Space Nine.
It was still Odo.
But, like, he was better in Next Generation.
Yeah.
And Star Trek The Next Generation. Wonderful character, amazing character development. Sadly, is the trope codifier for the Worf effect, and I feel like that's a stain upon his Klingon honor that you can't really live past. But I like
for the sake of the audience, what is the Worf effect, my friend?
So the Worf effect is, say you got this guy, he's a member of your team, the good guys. And he's the badass one. He's the hard man. He's the one that all the good guys look and go, man, don't start a fight with this guy. He'll fuck you up. And you want to introduce a villain and establish that they're like super threatening. Like the good guys have to take them seriously because they are a big, very serious threat. What you do is you have them beat up the tough guy. Well, the problem is, if you're doing a show like Star Trek, where the solution's not usually going to be, and then they just beat their ass.
Man, what if there was an episode where just some motherfuckers beam themselves on board, and it's 40 minutes of Picard throwing hands.
Just Picard and Worf and Riker just fucking...
Data doing his karate chops.
X gonna give it to you, starts playing, and they just fucking run their fade. I like that idea. But, like, that's not the solution. The solution's almost never, and then they just whip their ass in Star Trek. So to take that solution off the table, you have to take the character who would just whip their ass and make it so they can't. So Worf got his ass kicked a lot. So that Worf just kicking the shit out of the bad guy wasn't an option for a solution, because then there's no show.
I wish they had spent more time putting Worf over, though. Like, let him karate chop some mooks.
Yeah,
let him use his Klingon.
Add like 12 mooks to every scene where Worf gets his ass kicked and have him overwhelmed. You got lots of mooks. You got replaceable fucking old Doctor Who props lying around. I know it. So just put a rubber forehead on a dude and let Worf be a badass. It's one of my only real criticisms of The Next Generation, like as a series as a whole, is they did my boy Worf dirty. Worf is a great character. He's a guy torn between two worlds, trying to live up to a tradition he doesn't fully attach himself to internally. You can tell he wants to be a good Klingon, but he recognizes that there are parts of that aren't right. That's why he works with the Federation, and he's not on a Klingon warship. And, like, the struggle there is one of the best emotional through lines in The Next Generation, is watching his character development, and eventually when he has a kid and he has to try and, like, struggle with, I guess, like a fucking ersatz toxic masculinity, where he has to try and make his kid a good Klingon, but also he doesn't really want to do that. He just feels like he should, because being a good Klingon means being a fucking asshole. It's a really meaty, good character, and it's played wonderfully. And also, it is an iconic fucking makeup job.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if, like, they fucked up how Klingons look and made them look weird and different for no goddamn reason?
I feel like he's referencing something, but
I am. It's Star Trek Discovery.
I thought that was a documentary on the Discovery Channel about Star Trek.
I'm gonna let you keep thinking that.
Okay. My number 3 is William Riker, because he sits in chairs funny. What's your number 2?
No, motherfucker, you gotta talk more. We got 30 minutes, motherfucker. You gotta talk more.
No, and I would like to add that, as you mentioned, the acting for Worf is fantastic. Michael Dorn is just an incredible actor. He can do things with his voice alone. I mean, like, there's not always transition. You don't always transition well from screen actor to voice actor or vice versa, and he just
They're different skill sets.
They are. And there are people who do plenty.
Yeah. But for every really good person like Michael Dorn, you got a Matthew Perry, who's a great screen actor.
But yeah.
Oh, God. What's the fucking guy who played Tyrion Lannister? I forgot his name.
Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
Great screen actor. Amazing screen actor. As I understand it, very terrible voice actor.
I mean, you know, here's another one. His name is escaping me. Jonathan Frakes. Great voice actor, great screen actor. Jonathan Frakes has thwarted us in the past as David Xanatos.
Yes, he has defeated us. Jonathan Frakes is a great voice actor. And fucking Riker is it's not every day you get to be the thing people use to measure when a series got good.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. He's charming. He's charismatic. He's... Okay, so there's this thing that the latest Ninja Turtle series did where they made Raphael the leader and Leonardo got to take a backseat. And because he wasn't in the lead, they got to explore more about what makes Leonardo other than being, you know, the blue dickhead of the 90s. Like your Cyclopes and so on and so forth.
I feel like that's a really solid change.
I feel like it is too. I can't wait to watch more of it. But this is basically what if James T. Kirk wasn't given responsibilities. At least nowhere near as many. He gets to be the strutting, swaggering, cowboy space badass without having to, like, you know...
be in charge and tell people what to do. It's really a more natural place for the Kirk type.
Yeah, it is.
He's your fucking swaggity number one.
And he still gets shit done. He's still incredibly capable. He's the Strider to Picard's Gandalf. Like,
and it must be said, listener, Riker fucks.
oh yeah. Look, I said James T. Kirk, did I not? Riker is you playing Mass Effect, and I don't mean my robotic companion here. I mean the collective you, Ultimo Dragon.
We'll bang, okay? Oh.
But I don't know what it is about the synergy between the Next Generation crew that makes me love them so much. But it is that synergy. And I don't think they're inseparable in the same way that a lot of group or even pair characters are.
Notably, you take Worf and you put him on Deep Space Nine, and he's not as good, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah. And I think you could do that for most of those characters, and they have done that for several of them in the past and will in the future.
I'm sure.
But they just, like, it only adds to the quality of each individual character. The way they come together and form such a solid, iconic team. And without Riker, you wouldn't have... he's the Lancer. He's the right hand. He's, like, and his friend. And you know, Picard's friend. Like, it's just such a...
He does a great job as Jean-Luc's friend, because you don't... It's hard to portray someone who is so different from someone else, but still manages to have a genuine, respectful, and true friendship with someone. You don't get that a lot of people who are very clearly, like, different. And also, not to mention, one is the other's boss, but it does come across. They are clearly close.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do, especially in what can sometimes be a very goofy sci-fi series.
Yeah, it's season 1, boy. Woo! But who do you have at your number 2 slot, my friend?
My second favorite Star Trek character is Data. I mean, like, I know you might be surprised that he's not the number 1 slot, but I think maybe you can guess who's there. So, of course, Data has to take number 2. He's my boy. He's my people. He's a robot.
Data would be fine in a show today.
Data,
brand new, out the packaging.
I mean, you could even still have Brent Spiner play him, and
He
really,
would.
you wouldn't have to change much.
He's fine.
But, like, notably, Data is in I'll by way of example, they did the new best version of Star Trek in the modern era, the Orville. And the version of Data who exists there is essentially just slightly more asshole Data. They didn't change much because you don't need to. Data is great. He is a wonderful, like, combination of Captain Exposition and, like, the fish out of water who gets to experience things for the first time and gets to be your... and perhaps this is just me talking, your window into trying to understand the emotional underpinnings of all these complicated, squishy people.
For most meatbags, he is the mirror through which we can reflect on the oddities of our own culture and behaviors. I feel is how most people relate to Data. I get both sides of the coin there. Data strikes me as someone who would be very confused about funeral rites, for example.
But interested.
Yes! And I love that. I love that about him is his never-ending fascination and thirst for knowledge. Like, yeah, file that shit away. Now that's the thing I know. Awesome.
Yeah. I love watching him out of his element. One, because, while Worf is the badass guy, Data's the actual heavy of the Next Generation squad, because he's a fucking powerful android who notably kicks most people's ass.
With just one fucking
one
Data
karate chop, yeah.
Honestly,
I like seeing him out of his element because some of my favorite episodes of Data are things like, there's one episode, I can't remember the name of it, obviously, it's, boy howdy was that never information I had, where he is thrown into, like, a very, like, almost Victorian society, maybe slightly above medieval, and he's lost all his memories, and you get to watch this analytical person just sort of build the scientific method from the ground up, and it is the basis for a lot of YouTube content I watch.
I mean, Data is Star Trek. Like, he is possibly the best representation of everything the series had the intention to explore.
Just that wonderful, optimistic vision of the future that, through the acquisition of knowledge and a bright, open attitude towards the peoples we meet, we can accomplish anything, and no one needs to be a fucking dickhead.
And if they are, dead.
Karate chop. What about you, sir? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Data's counterpart, Jordy Laforge. Again, on the back of an incredible actor. But Jordy is that coworker that you never expected to become your best friend kind of guy. Like, he seems unapproachable and too cocky, but the second anyone has a genuine conversation with him, he is your best friend. Because
he's just open. He's just ready to be friends. He's not an asshole.
And it's nice because, like, you can tell a lot of it is just, the absolute relief at not being blind anymore. Like, I mean,
you gotta be real with that's a real good reason to be happy.
He's like, well, why can I be mad? Look, I put on this fucking headband and I can see.
That's sick. Great. He's a great character because he subverts. He is, as a character, a subversion of a very well-established trope from the original series. He is just a competent engineer, and shit takes the amount of time he says it will.
Yeah. But he's also always open to explain things, and he's approachable, and he's funny. He just seems like a very organic character.
And he seems like a normal guy.
Yes.
In a way, a lot of Star Trek characters don't. They seem like heightened people. Like, Worf with his almost Shakespearean, like, family, caught between two worlds thing. Data with his, fucking Asimovian nature and, like, very speculative fiction existence in terms of being a mirror as to our culture. But Jordy's just a fucking guy. This is just his job, and he's really good at it.
And he loves it. And he just, Jordy's a cool dude, man. We have honorable mentions.
We do indeed. We're just going to do the one list because, this is just the list of people we were drafting from, and they didn't make the cut. So here we go.
Yeah. Scotty.
He's good. He is He is responsible for so many pop cultural jokes and shit that it's kind of hard to explain how understated his actual character in the original series was.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Kirk, honestly. People have flanderized the Shatner voice so hard
that when you watch the original series, you're like, wait, what? This isn't the thing. This isn't the thing people are doing. Mr. Scott is not all that ridiculous. He's not nearly as ridiculous as every other version of him you've seen. Sulu.
Yeah. What a fun character. I don't think the original series would have been fun enough without Sulu.
Yeah, agreed. And
he lends energy and that optimism we talked about to the crew.
And you must put respect on the name for his actor. Like, that's an iconic performance. And some great choices. Deciding to be a fencer of all fucking things, love it.
They were really flying by the seat of their pants in that original series, but in the best way.
Yep.
Spock, of course, as we said earlier, Spock walked so Tuvak could run, and Leonard Nimoy did fantastic stuff with the character, and he's an enduring icon, a trope maker, a character codifier to this day.
And I love that eventually he made peace with Spock, Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah.
Like, I am not Spock, and then I am Spock. I love that the peace came. That's good. It would have felt bad if he'd never made peace. Next up is the Holographic Doctor. from most notably Voyager, I believe.
Pretty
Although
much
there was
entirely.
also a version of him on Deep Space Nine, I think.
I think he guest starred a couple times.
But a wonderful way of boxing in your ridiculous Star Trek medicine so that things can be more threatening out in the field.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I really... He was like halfway between Data and Bones, really. Like this interesting amalgamation of I am tech incarnate and I am also your snarky Dr. House or Dr. Cox. Just, I don't know. Good stuff.
Yep.
We can't forget about Nelix, the chef from Voyager, who annoys the piss out of most of the people online and me a little bit. But, like, I got a soft spot for the guy.
I can't not have a soft spot for Nelix because his name genuinely is stuck in my head and will be for the rest of my life. Occasionally my brain will just go, Nelix! And I don't get to know when that'll happen.
I don't know, I was a kid when I watched Voyager. That is basically my biggest...
Yeah, I understand. Speaking of, Captain Janeway. This one's mostly you. We were saying these in order, but this one's mostly you.
She's like Diet Picard.
Yeah.
Again, carried on the back of her actress. Great performance. Yeah, but she also had a little bit more balls to her. Like... She had a little bit of that Kirk.
She had a good mix of that Kirk energy, and she needed to, given the situation that she was in. She was a hard woman making hard decisions a lot of the time.
I would have loved to have seen the characters from Voyager in a show with better scripts.
Yeah, I think the story is what holds Janeway back from me.
Yeah,
I don't dislike her or anything. She's just meh for me.
Then we have Khan Noonan Singh. Again. Pretty much carried on the back of the actor.
Star Trek is a series for actors.
Yeah.
The material is not amazing. Gene Roddenberry is a decent world builder, but, like, the scripts are never fucking carry you away good. The material, it's not fucking Aaron Sorkin. These aren't tight 30 minutes. There's a lot of, like... room to have made a much shittier version of every version of Star Trek.
Yeah, and they're really to the point in the scripts. It's the delivery. Like, it's not the same thing reading a Star Trek quote as it is seeing it acted out with both the visual performance and the voice.
It's very much like it's a show that really benefits from having people with stage experience.
Yes.
Because it's a show for actors. If you have the performance there, an otherwise bland character who could have been completely replaceable and not terribly interesting, just pops off the screen and becomes wonderful. And
I think it's a lot of why the modern Star Treks don't work as well for me. Because we've lost that late 80s, early 90s kind of dinner theater vibe.
Yeah, they're too polished.
And too understated. Everyone's going for a Babylon 5 when they should be going for...
Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
Like, Star Trek, the characters on Star Trek are heightened. This isn't Babylon 5. This isn't, any number of other, what do they call it? Prestige dramas. This isn't Mad Men. This is fucking... Cut some capers, man!
Exactly, yeah. Which is why the Orville did such a good job with it, with the concept.
They were willing to take it a place. A more comedic place, but at least a place.
Yeah, where these characters could stand tall and be big.
And no one is bigger than fucking Ricardo Montobot.
No one is bigger. This is a bunch of random ass literary quotes and
his name being yelled. But it works so well because he's just such a crazy asshole.
It's great. And our final honorable mention.
Quark, who I, before the podcast, realized couldn't make it into my top 5 because I only have one thing to say about Quark. Funny capitalism, man.
He really is just really funny and like a dick you want to root for. Like, he didn't codify the trope, certainly, but he plays well into... that, money-grubbing asshole who will still do the right thing at the end of the day, even though he's grumbling about it. Like,
Yeah, basically, he's a good guy, but he's got a Sigma male mindset. I'm sorry, you rise and you grind and you don't stop.
I don't know what he's talking about because I'm not a young person.
I force myself to learn young people terminology.
I do too. I was just deflecting.
But our combined number one. I mean, really, you probably could have guessed. If you didn't guess it by now, I'm a little surprised. Is Jean-Luc is Captain fucking Picard?
This show is called Star Trek because, the original Star Trek existed.
Right.
But if they had made this show of whole cloth somehow, it would be like James Bond and be called Jean-Luc Picard. Captain Picard. Well, yeah, they eventually did.
There is a Picard series. It's the performance of a fucking lifetime from an amazing actor. And it's someone who is... Picard is an amazing character because he seems exactly as much in character doing ridiculous fucking noir detective role play with his friends on the holodeck and just
I love this bunch of fucking nerds, man.
And just staring down the absolute end of his whole civilization if he fucking moves one eyebrow wrong. And being weak at the knees and at the very ragged edge of his endurance, screaming into the face of his torturer. All of those seem exactly as much like Jean-Luc Picard as all of the others. He is a real, fully realized human being. And you just... That means there's a lot to fucking say about him. About what makes him great.
And he's a fucking hero. He's like fucking Captain America, man. He's Captain Space.
He's Captain Space. He got stabbed in the heart once and, pointed and laughed at the guy who did it. That's really fucking hardcore.
First episode Q shows up, and Jean-Luc is like, I got this. Don't fucking worry about it, I'm here.
This is like my first week on the job. We're up against an alien god. Fine, let's fucking roll.
This guy seems like an asshole. And, I love him at the small moments when he's smiling genially at one of his crew members who has a lot on their mind. And I love him at the big bombastic moments where he's, screaming down some half-cocked Klingon or whatever they happen to be facing.
I love that he's a great evolution on James T. Kirk. Because he's a better Starfleet captain in every conceivable way. He more thoroughly puts forth the ethos of the kind of society Gene Roddenberry envisioned the Star Trek society to be. The people of Starfleet are erudite and learned and compassionate. And he is all of those things. He always struggles to find a way to find a solution that is the most respectful towards life and the people trying to live it. But at the same time, he's not, to be frank, a bitch. He has steel in his spine. He will absolutely, run his ship into yours. He will ram you if that is what it takes.
Detach the nacelles and destroy a motherfucker. He's also fallible, which I really like, because it would be so easy to make a character like that,
Mary Sue.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be so easy to make Jean-Luc Picard overpowered and ridiculous and always right about everything, and he's not. He's a guy with a fair amount of ego. He holds it in well, but he's not a humble dude. And that gets him into trouble sometimes. He's a guy with kind of a stick up his ass for most of the series.
And, I mean, to continue my metaphor, and to help those of you who are maybe listening who aren't huge Star Trek fans, but are fans of other properties, if Jean-Luc Picard is Captain America, James T. Kirk is Iron Man.
Yeah.
One's a hot-rodding, babe-fucking pistol who will get the job done and smile about it and make sure he was the one who did it. And the other one is doing the best he can for fucking justice with an iron jaw. But at the end of the day, still just a guy.
The world's most English Frenchman.
Yes! I don't know, man. Like, the first season of TNG is a little rough, but the rest of it's really solid.
I mean, there's a reason they call it Growing the Beard.
Yeah.
You could skip the first season of Next Generation and you've missed nothing.
Not much. Yeah, basically just Q's introduction, and that's not a great episode anyway.
So if somehow you've never gotten into Star Trek The Next Generation, because let's be real, that's what we're talking about mostly here, and you want to, and you're using this to decide, what the fuck are you doing? But also, maybe start at season 2.
But give it a shot, I'd say. It's like when I was younger, people would always talk about, oh, Star Wars is awesome because there's fights and action and ships, and Star Trek's all about talking. That's not really the case.
One, there is action and fights and ships. Some of it's a little staid in terms of its like blocking and choreography, but also, yeah, I mean, a fair amount of it is about talking, but it's very interesting talking.
It's drama, and it's not just like ship babble. It's not, the multimodal reflection sorting needs to be.
Now, some of it is.
Some of it is.
But
I think it's just, I don't know, it's 2021, and I don't know what the fuck people watch anymore, and it probably should be The Next Generation.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.